like Ted Danson doing Cheers or Mary Hart doing Entertainment Tonight. I leave the lot one night and the guards ask if they can search my car because some instruments from my show, Stage 29, the posse, the band, some instruments have been stolen. And we're supposed to search all the cars leaving the lot tonight. And of course, that's when I become black. That's when I get too black because
you were the host.
Yeah.
I mean, these were not people you ever saw on television.
And these are the people you saw that they weren't making me turn down. Like I was having Ice Cube stop by the studio and say, yo, dog, look at this and tell me what you think, and it would be him performing with NWA. And I'm like, I can't even say the title.
Yeah.
Niggas with attitude. And I went to Paramount. I tried to get them on. So there were people you didn't see because early on,
because you couldn't get them on.
Paramount wouldn't let me put NWA on. Eventually, I brought Ice Cube on and Dre on and Easy on separately after they broke up. But in the beginning, Paramount would just say no. After the show took off, I would push harder and say, like I went through the same type of meeting when Ice-T came up with Cop Killer. And I'm like, I want to do Ice-T and I want to let him explain this whole thing he's going through right now with this album. And they said no. And I said, no, we're doing this one. I stopped letting them say no.
Yeah.
Because I had a little bit of power and I'm like, I got to do this. Otherwise I'm Merv.
You got to get the power first, and you got the power and you start to exercise it. And it's a network note. I think sometimes it's not a network note. I shouldn't say that.
Too black. The show is too black.
The show is too black.
And you're too black.
Okay. Was that a thing that was actually said to you?
Oh yeah. We talk in meetings. Nobody could text back then because it hadn't been invented.
Yeah.
And they would not only tell me you're too black, but they would give me examples of what I shouldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned one earlier. Stop calling everybody brother. But that was an interesting meeting because I went over to an executive's office and they said, I was listening to the show because executives would have monitors on watching everything. And the executive said to me, stop calling your guest brother. And I said, what do you mean? It's tonight. I'm listening to the show and all I hear is brother this and brother that. And that sounds like it's not inclusive to your larger audience. And what they didn't do was pay attention to who I was talking to because I was calling Mark Wahlberg brother. He was with Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah.
And so what they learned with me is, there are a lot of things I'm doing that maybe need to be ironed out or changed, but pay attention because I called everybody brother and some of this stuff.
If Mr. Rogers was on, you'd say, hey, brother.
Yeah. Me and Mr. Rogers had identical jackets that we picked out for the show one night. And I'm like, this is Brother Rogers.
But you get that, okay? Which people would probably...
And one more thing. Because like I would get a call from Michael Bivins of New Edition.
Yeah.
And Michael Bivins would say, I just signed 4 guys out of Philly called Boys to Men. And I'm not finished with the album yet, but I would love to tell them that when we finish, they're coming on your show and it'll inspire them and everything. I said, even better than that, Mike, bring them next week. And I've always wanted to put the Temptations on because I used to tour with them and they were my heroes.
Yeah.
I want to put Boys to Men and the Temptations all together. Like I want to have 40 niggas doing choreography, and so let's have the Temptations and Boys to Men. And it's a beautiful line of men performing the old, the new, Boys to Men's idol, my idols and stuff like that. Paramount was like, you're not going to get Johnny's audience doing this.
Right.
And so they wanted me to change my persona. I remember one time them saying, could you get rid of the earrings? But that happened. And by the way, that's not a black thing. I've seen producers tell Howie Mandel to take off his earrings, or make them smaller or whatever. That's just what they think the culture in America wants to see.
Yeah.
And I would have like a nice jacket, but my jeans would be ripped,
Yeah.
And they were like, there's no reason to have your jeans ripped. One time I carved Adidas stripes in the side of my head because that was happening then. Not for y'all, but
Yeah, David, what did you have carved into the side of your head? the lyrics from Frozen.
Something like that. Yeah, just like let it go, let it go.
Let it go around his head.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It's just really cool.
He was in a different culture.
I was in the Midwest.
But you can imagine when you do something like that, they're not like Ted Danson doing Cheers or Mary Hart doing Entertainment Tonight. I leave the lot one night and the guards ask if they can search my car because some instruments from my show, Stage 29, the posse, the band, some instruments have been stolen. And we're supposed to search all the cars leaving the lot tonight. And of course, that's when I become black. You know, that's when I get too black because
you were the host of the most successful show.
Right.
And
don't get me wrong, I'm sure Mike Douglas steals, you know, from time to time when he was here on Earth. But it was just, sometimes you're going through stuff and that's the straw that broke the camel's back in a moment. And I did things that I should not have done. But I was like, you're not searching my motherfucking car. Did you search Ted Danson's car? You're not searching my fucking car. Yeah. I'm a part owner in my show. And the instruments that were stolen, that's money out of my pocket, motherfucker. I don't steal my own shit. And they give me that shit free. If you want a E3 or a clavinet, you know how many bass guitars I have at home? And Fender's just, we're sending you another jazz and a precision in the mail, you know? So it was just absurd. And me and this guy that I was rolling with, we break the gate. You know, the gate that goes up and down. Yeah. We broke that motherfucker off. Those are not very strong, those gates. They need, you know.
I think everyone's on your side on this gate breaking thing.
But yeah, so I got in a lot of trouble for the problems at the gate that night. But I was just...
You got it. That's insane.
Yeah. You know, but Lucy Sohaney called me the next day and she's like, come over and let's talk about what happened at the gate last night. But I was pissed and I didn't handle it right. And if a young comic asked me for advice, I'd say, you know, don't get into it with the guards and don't break the gate off if they say you can't leave. You know, but I was like, you gonna hold me? You're not, it's not gonna happen. You're not searching my car and you're not keeping me here.
I thought it was amazing doing your show and the LA riots start.
Mm.
And I lived in LA then, and it was I think I was working on The Simpsons when the LA riot. I was working on The Simpsons, and we're on the second floor working on The Simpsons, and we can tell things are. It's just the
and
air.
Where was the office?
We were on the Fox lot.
Yeah, because you could go on the roof of some of those buildings and see smoke from South Central.
That's what happened is we started to hear, we heard about the verdict. We hear that there's violence breaking out. And of course, whoever was running the show at the time was like, well, we got to get this, what does Marge say next? We don't know what Marge says next. And some of us are thinking, can we just go check the TV? Hold on. Let's just, does Homer speak here? I think it should be Marge's line. And then someone went out to get like a cup of water or something and was standing on the balcony and saw just all this smoke.
Yeah. No, at some point, we're all watching TV and we see Reginald Denny dragged out of a concrete truck.
He's dragged out of a truck and hit over the head. Cinder blocks. Yeah. And it was, so I jumped in my car at The Simpsons and I drive back to my apartment because the guy said, let's figure out that Marge line later. Everybody go home. And so it was a very strange, upsetting, obviously, time. And you were advised, well, you can't do your show.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm doing my show. And you had very strong reasons for why you thought it's important for me to do my show right now, which were.
But yet, by the way, as an EP, I understood where they were coming from. They were talking about insurance. They were talking about somebody getting hurt. I got what they were saying, but I also got that this ain't the time to shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
This is a time for an entertainer to use his vehicle in some way. And I understood at that point, I thought maybe this is the night I book somebody like Farrakhan, or I got to book somebody that can reach the brothers out in the street, because I think we're about to tear up our own neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And obviously, everybody thought that would distract from what I'm trying to do and what's going on, and it would be bigger than the riots. And I said, oh, yeah, no, I get that. And so we got Tom Bradley, Sean Penn popped by, Sinbad, everybody. And then I invited 200 members of First AME, my church. So I put my church, they signed waivers, and everybody sat in the audience, and we did the show that night.
Yeah,
which
amazing.
a billion things are going through my mind, because I also remember Tom Bradley. Sean Penn brought a guy with him, and Paramount sent a lawyer out to say, the guy with Sean Penn, we can't talk to him, so don't go over there. And to this day, I had so much on my mind. To this day, I wonder who that guy was. And it's also interesting because from Ice Cube to Minister Farrakhan, I look now at what you guys are going through and being told what to do, what not to do, who to book with Colbert and who not to book.
Right.
And Trump wasn't in my mix, but it's funny because I never thought to publicly talk about me being censored, or publicly talk about them not letting me have someone that I want to have because politically that person is wrong or whatever. I also remember when I booked Bill Clinton, I grew up thinking that you always bring the other side. And I thought that was a law, but I guess it's changed or it's vacillated a little bit these days. But I remember putting an offer out to Mr. Bush